Okay, so now that you have your plans ready, it's time for you to start the process of getting it reviewed, cleared, and approved with the various departments so you can get your permit for construction. I want to take this chapter and talk about what is the process generally speaking. It's going to be very much similar to most projects. It's going to be a bit different for some, depends on your location and property situation, but generally speaking, it's going to be pretty much the same. Few things I want to make clear. Going through a process of plan check, clearances, reviews, and approvals with different departments in your local city, it's time consuming. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, it's going to take a lot of it's going to take from you dealing with different departments and different entities, talking to various people. So be prepared for it. Know exactly what you are going through. If you have a design team that you're using and that you hire to do your planning, most of them will offer to do that for you. If not, you can always hire another company that does it. There's permit expediters that can help you with that. If you choose to do it yourself, very important, know exactly what is the process. Inquire with your local planning department. Most of them are going to have a handout for you that you can take and know exactly what are the steps that you need to follow, but know exactly what you are facing. Okay, generally speaking, here's the process and here's how it's going to go. You will first submit to your local planning, building, and safety. Once they're going to finish their first review, they're going to give you the plans back with a list of corrections and clearances. The corrections usually going to be done by your planning design team that you hired. They're going to do those corrections, whatever corrections needs to be done. And then the clearances, again, that team can handle it, but if you decided to do it yourself, then you will need to go through different clearances and obtaining different documents and approvals from different departments. You're gonna get, you need to get clearances from obvious departments are going to be Bureau of Engineering for your sanitation, meaning the sewer line, a new address, from power and water for your connections, of course. If you are in a fire zone area, you need to get a clearance from a fire department. In some cases, they might even ask you to install a fire sprinkler system, and that's going to trigger adding another design for fire sprinkler system. If you are hillside, there could be that you're going to need to provide a grading clearance. If you are on a main street, you might need to get a clearance from Department of Transportation. So know what clearances you need to get. By the way, once your plans are going to be coming back to you from planning and building and safety, they're going to give you a list of those clearances. Okay. If you have any architectural review boards on your property, what does that mean? There are different review boards that can be on your property and in your neighborhood that you might not even be aware of. Things like historical preservation, coastal commissions, HOA, or even other review boards, architectural review boards that you're not aware of. Those review boards are mainly addressing exterior facade and how the property looks like, because they're trying to maintain a certain look of the property. So any addition, new development that is being done to the neighborhood needs to go through them. So if you have any, you will get again from your planning department a notification that you get a clearance from them. So you will need to go through that process as well. If there are any easements on your property, very important to know. If there are easements, and easements usually are being held by a public entity. Easements, by the way, it means that a public entity or even a private entity, but for this case we'll talk about public entity, holds an interest of your property. It's still your property, but they have the rights to use it for whatever it is. And a lot of times you'll find that there's easements held by a power company, water company, or public department. If there are any easements of those nature and you need to get a clearance, know that it's going to take time. You need to approach them and you will need to file a few documents saying that you need to get either a waiver of the clearance completely, which usually takes longer and it's it really depends if it's doable or not, or an encroachment, meaning you're going to ask to build your unit or develop your unit getting closer or even sitting on the easements. So be aware of that. Know that you need to go through that process because it is going to take some time as well. Make sure that during the process you're keeping records of all the documents that you're submitting. Always make a copy of everything that you're submitting so you can have a copy of yourself. Always make a copy of payments that you're making because you're going to make payments as you go to the different departments. Always make a copy of the documents that you're receiving back. Keep a file organized of everything. You never know when you're going to need those. You never know when you're going to have a question for yourself or a different department that's going to ask you a question. It's very important that you're going to have a record of all those documents, receipt, and so forth, so you can have your project cleared and approved as efficiently as possible. That's it on this one. Next one, we'll talk about creating a scope of work for your construction.